Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. It's Friday, which means another crypto interest rates and news update. Today is the 28th of May 2021, and as always we start by taking a look at the interest rates and any coins, anything like that. And the big news this week is that there's another column, as you can see here, under Swissborg, and this is the community premium column. So this gives you 1.5 times the regular amount, or 0.75 of the premium account, whichever way you want to look at it. So that launched this week. We'll talk about that a little bit more detail as one of our stories in a minute, but that's the big kind of like news this week. Apart from that, I was expecting really possibly to hear from Blockfire and Ledden in the last couple of days about any changes to the rates for next month. Now normally these come out in the last kind of like week to 5 days of the kind of month. It's only 3 days from the end of the month now, so I was half expecting particularly to hear from Blockfire. I think potentially what's happened over the last couple of months as they've been reducing their kind of rates is that they've announced it a couple of days before places like kind of Ledden, and I think a lot of people have then withdrawn and moved coins over. So it's almost like they're trying to kind of like wait as late in the month as possible now until they announce it. But it is Friday afternoon now, so unless they announce it today, you know, we'll be on the last day of the month by Monday when these rates potentially are announced. But it looks like they're kind of trying to push back these announcements, particularly if there's any reductions as late as possible. So it'll be interesting to see if there are any changes with Blockfire Ledden this month. Obviously a lot of the other ones, Swissborg changes on a daily basis. Celsius change their rates fairly frequently as well. Nexo and crypto.com a little bit more kind of stable in the updates of their rates. But moving on, having a quick glance at the token prices. Obviously a really volatile week this week for Bitcoin. Just before last week's video we had that really big pullback, the flash down for Bitcoin to sub 30,000, went down to sort of like 28,000 something. And then midweek we had another pullback down into the sort of $32,000 range. We've seen some decent recovery since then. Then over the last few hours actually we've had a dip down back to the sort of like $35,000 mark. We're actually kind of like trading a little bit up from that. If I refresh this page, we're actually up to about 36.8 now, so you can see a little bit more of a kind of gain, but we had another little bit of a pullback today. So a lot of choppy kind of momentum in the kind of market. Bitcoin over the last 7 days down 9%. Crypto.com down 6.6, so a little bit better than that. And Celsius Network, the only one that's been up 1.4%, but that's, you know, bound up 10% in comparison to Bitcoin. Nexo down 19%, so a really poor performance for Nexo. Swissborg down 7.1, so broadly in line with Crypto.com and a little bit better than Bitcoin. So a decent week for Celsius. Everybody had this kind of dip mid-week, but they've held on to their kind of gains and haven't dropped today like a lot of the other coins have, with that little pullback in price for Bitcoin. And then moving on to some stories, we've actually got some decent stories this week. And the first one is the launch of the Celsius web app. Now, the reason I'm taking you to the main site is that a few months ago there was a sort of backup marketing database that was hacked from Celsius, and a lot of people received dodgy SMS and emails, or emails, sometimes both, trying to get people into this kind of like web wallet that didn't exist, and actually kind of like taking people's kind of details. So I just wanted to kind of like reinforce that if you are going to use a web app, make sure you go through the main website. So celsius.network, the web app is actually app.celsius.network, but I almost anticipate over the next kind of week or so that a few dodgy kind of people might be contacting people from Celsius and trying to get them to click a link through to a non-genuine kind of like web app and trying to get their kind of like personal details. So make sure you always use the official link. Make sure you follow the link from the official kind of site and bookmark that in your browser. But there's some news for the web app. So it was launched about 3 days ago, and I've actually had a play with it, and it's really quite nice. There's a lot of information here. As always, links to all of these articles will be in the description below, so you can read through this at your leisure. And there are some accompanying YouTube videos and stuff like that. You use the same details to log in as you do on the mobile app. And when I played with it a couple of days ago, there were a few functionality, or there was a little bit of functionality that was missing. So for example, You can't take out a loan or anything like that from the web app. That just prompts you to go back to the mobile app. But I think the look and feel is pretty nice. This is a screenshot of the kind of main page. You can see here you've got a graph of your kind of portfolio. What I really liked here was on the right hand side all of your different wallet balances, and being able to just quickly flick back and forth to whether you wanted to earn in Celsius token if it's obviously available in your area, or earn in kind. So you can do that for each token. Quite nice and easy to do that. And a lot of the other functionality is available. So sending and receiving coins and stuff like that is already available in the web app. As I mentioned, there were a couple of bits within the loan section that weren't, but I'll do a full sort of review of it probably in the next kind of couple of weeks, going through all the functionality and stuff like that and how best to kind of use it. As I mentioned before, make sure you're using the official URL, so it's app.celsius.network, and then there's some additional kind of security suggestions here, so not using unsecured Wi-Fi. So if you're in a coffee shop or on the subway or something like that, make sure you have a VPN if you're ever accessing any platform, but particularly kind of crypto, kind of banking platforms, financial platforms, anything like that. And then a reminder that they'll never ask you for passwords, private keys, anything like that. So stay safe as always. Let me know in the comments below if you've used the web app, what you think of it. I think it's a pretty decent kind of first attempt. Look forward to see what they're going to be bringing out over the next few months. But really nice to see this finally get rolled out after being delayed a few times. And then moving on to a story from Blockfire, another bit of good news this week. So a few months ago, and we covered this at the time, maybe around the beginning of the year, Blockfire announced that they would be launching a credit card, and it was a genuine credit card, not to be confused with a lot of the prepaid crypto cards like Crypto.com's debit card, which is a prepaid debit card. This is actually a credit card, and basically it was going to be giving people cash back in Bitcoin. Now the slight disadvantage of it was that there was going to be a $200 annual fee, and that was going to be waived for the first year through a bonus. But a lot of people were quite frustrated by that. I think somebody worked out that you'd need to spend almost $13,500 before you actually just paid off the annual fee. So really nice to see this week that they have announced that there will be no annual fee. So they've removed the annual fee from the card, and they've updated the benefits. So it's a 1.5% cash back. There's some additional benefits here. So stablecoin bonus, trading bonus, a refer a friend bonus. But the nice thing is first 90 days, 3.5% Bitcoin rewards rate. That's only up to a certain amount, I believe, but nice that there's also some additional benefits here as well. So we've got travel and emergency assistance services, concierge, luxury hotel collection, auto rental, collision damage waiver, various other bits and bobs. So it'd be interesting to see how this is tweaked over time, but really nice to see them remove that annual fee, which I think was probably putting off a number of people from getting the kind of card, rather than just a general kind of like cashback card and just using that cashback money to buy crypto. So nice to hear them listening to kind of users, but I think probably they were coming under some competition from probably the Gemini card and stuff like that. So anyway, nice to see that happening. And then moving on to another story. Another good story is that Ledden have raised $30 million in a Series A round. So at the beginning of this year, they raised, I think it was about $2.5–3 million in a seed round. They've actually just raised $30 million in a Series A. So that's Kingsway Capital, Coinbase Ventures, Susquehanna, and a few more. So some really big names within the industry. Nice to see them growing. Hopefully they don't grow too fast, and that sort of like impact on the customer service, which I think is really good on Ledden. I think it's probably the best customer service out of all these kind of platforms. So I hope they don't grow too fast and sort of like lose some of that kind of like personal touch and some of the really good kind of positive elements to the platform. But really nice to see them kind of growing, and they're going to be using the money to kind of expand their business globally, as well as expand on some of their existing stuff in North and South America. And it was interesting to note here, you can see here, it also added a service allowing users to quickly exchange between USDC and Bitcoin. Now, I believe this is a trial that went live in Colombia. This isn't available to everybody, but they were trialing the exchange feature in, I believe it was Colombia and potentially one other jurisdiction before it rolls out. So hopefully we're a little bit a little bit nearer to that being rolled out globally. And this isn't going to be a full function exchange, I don't think. It will be more like the Blockfire, where you can just quickly swap between different kind of currencies. And I imagine there will be quite a hefty spread on that, like there is on a Blockfire. But nice to see Ledden doing well, raising some money from some big players in the industry. And then moving on to Swissborg. So we talked about this earlier. The community premium is available. Again, all the links to all these stories will be in the description below. But the nice thing about this is that you only require 2,000 tokens. So if we scroll down to the table here, you can see the standard account. This is basically kind of what you get. So the community premium basically gives you 1.5 times the yield that you get with a standard account. The Genesis premium account is still 2x that, and I believe this will be phased out and replaced by a different premium account. So this was a Genesis, so this was the original kind of people who locked up their tokens. But the Genius premises required 50,000 tokens to be locked up for a year, whereas the community premium only 2,000. So if you like the platform, could be a good opportunity to get in at 1.5 times yield, particularly on stuff like kind of USDC and things like that. If we jump back to the rates, you can see at the moment the community rates, you know, not the best on the first few, but 4.13 on Bitcoin. This is today's rate. 5.63 on Ethereum, 6.3 on their own token. Now, the tokens that you lock up, the 2,000 tokens you would potentially lock up for the community premium, you don't earn yield on just all the remaining tokens, and then 11.25 on USDC, but the rates do vary up and down. Now my slight concern is that the rates have generally moved downwards over the last few months across all the different kind of coins, so it'd be interesting to see if that kind of stabilizes and whether they can maybe get some upward pressure on those rates, because even with the community kind of premium, it looks like, you know, a lot of the kind of rates are only comparable potentially with some of the other platforms, and if they continue to go down, you know, be no point doing this. If on the other hand you have the premium rates, you need to get some really good rates on, particularly USDC. We can see here, this is, I believe, an average over the last period of time. I'm not sure exactly how long that is, but you see here 20%. Now it's not 20% today, but this may be an average over the last 7 days or something like that. I'll have to look a little bit more into that. But yeah, if you're interested in the community premium, there's a link to Swissborg to sign up below. But a lot of people have been waiting quite a while for this to be launched, so nice to see it's finally been launched. And then finally, Nexo. Now, a few months ago, they launched within their web app, within the web application, a governance proposal. So if you held Nexo tokens, basically you got one vote for every token that you kind of held, and it's been sat in the kind of web app without anything really tied to it, so you couldn't actually do anything. They didn't have anything that you could vote on. Now the first vote, which is quite an interesting one, is whether people would like daily interest on their Nexo tokens. So this will go live in 9 days, so I think 7th of June, something like that. Yeah, 7th of June. You'll be able to kind of vote for or against this. So basically they'll be receiving Nexo tokens will be receiving up to 12% interest. Now the 12% interest is for the fixed term, 9% for the 3-month term, or 7% for the flexible kind of term, and this will be as opposed to earning a dividend. So at the moment they do dividends, so this will be replacing the dividends. If it is approved, then the final dividend will be given out on June the 16th. If it's not approved, then they'll just carry on giving 30% of the profits to Nexo token holders as a dividend. I would imagine that this will be strongly voted through. So we'll see, but I think this is something that they've been crying out for. I think the community's been crying out for this for ages. I just don't think there was enough utility for the Nexo kind of token, particularly in comparison to something like Celsius, where you can earn a yield on the actual token, or Swissborg, where you can earn a yield on the actual kind of token as well. So I imagine this will be voted through. It'll be interesting to see people's sort of opinions and thoughts on this. Let me know in the comments below. But as you can see here, there's a nice sort of long article here, dividends versus daily interest, sort of pros and cons. And I know a few people in the subreddit have been working out exactly how much you could potentially be earning, and whether it was in your whether it was worthwhile to kind of vote for this or not. But anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks very much for watching as always. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Give me a thumbs up, that would be fantastic. Really helps other people find the video, helps the YouTube algorithm, any kind of comments, anything like that. So thanks for watching. Keep safe and well. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video, but until then, have a great day. Bye bye.